Till remained in a bewildered state, only able to think to himself, what strength this next generation has, and how terrible the impending war will be. Sarush, help us. Grant chuffed and snorted. This is the kind of fight you'd expect to see at the game show planet or on the front lines of some battle with the Shadow. What could have driven these kids to such madness? Till took a deep breath while looking back at the screen. From what I saw, I'd say it was self-defense all around. I know that Nurse Kisa will have everyone ready by the time the GA calls them to slaughter, so as far as I'm concerned, there's nothing further to discuss. No sense in making waves over petty squabbles. Grant huffed in disapproval. Petty squabbles? Well, that's that. Till did his best to ignore the wide-open mouth of the headmaster and the potentials of what they just witnessed. Wiping the relay clip after saving the video to the station's archive, Till gestured towards the door. If you don't mind, Headmaster, I have a busy day tomorrow, so I best get you home. Till could sense Grant's unease. Who could blame him? He was headed back to the place those wild beasts called home. During the ride back, an urge came over the liaison. He couldn't fathom the behavior of the four boys, and he sensed that the headmaster wasn't going to fairly dish out the punishments. Thinking of the last thing he saw, Arrow's unconscious body displayed on a small image in the relay queue, a spiky, bulbous frill around Till's neck began to protrude. Headmaster, if you don't mind, I'd like to say something to all the boys when we get there. It would be against my charge if I didn't speak on the matter. Ignoring Till, Grant began to ramble. In all my days, I've never seen anything like that before. Let me tell you, I've both been a part of and observed my fair share of violence. I was just a young tusk when we crash-landed here on X-12. We were one of the first colonies to form on this side of the realm while the Shadow ran amok. Till, you have only been with us since the GA decided to reconnect with the outer colonies beyond the dome. Never have I seen anything so ruthless done to anyone, let alone between children. He took a long, wheezing breath. Never have I seen someone move like that. Such grace and ferociousness. Have you ever seen any creature's eyes glow like that? And the power of the Zenith Boy, I say. It's a good thing you and I both have more than a few tricks up our sleeve. Otherwise, this town would be lawless, eh, liaison? Till ignored the prod and remained silent, so the headmaster continued to ramble on for the rest of the trip. With the sandstorm ended, when they arrived at the refugee center, they saw the hydroponic grow stations revealing themselves from their protective bloom houses. Opening the transport hatch, Till joined the gardens and basking in the artificial sun and fresh air. His attention was captured by the bright glare shining off the solar panels. They covered the majority of the roof. The sight of them bolted to the underbelly of a ship's cargo hold that was repurposed as the main section of the refugee center's roof was its own kind of beauty. Holding his hand to his eyes for relief, Till remembered he'd left his nano-helmet back at the station. Despite feeling his skin beginning to dry up, he still managed to enjoy the view of the artificial, sun-soaked blending of technological ingenuity and the biovegetative life. Looking back at Grant struggling to exit the transport, he had a fleeting sense of admiration. This individual, despite his harsh attitude and appearance, had dedicated himself to such a noble cause. Returning to the task at hand, Till removed all joy from himself, setting off towards the large doors of the refugee center with speed and grace as if floating across the ground. Other than escaping the blistering artificial sun, his pressing motive was to distance himself from Grant so that he could get a moment alone with the four accusing boys. As he stepped through the door, his train of thought was temporarily lost once greeted by Nurse Kisa. The bright and wonderful Kisa was a Najin, a Homo serpentis species capable of switching between a snake-like and human form. It took everything Till had to maintain his stoic composure. Till, you're back. How'd it go? Kisa asked with excitement, slithering towards him. Till responded only with his best stern look and a hand gesture signaling her to follow. Knowing the destination, Kisa quickly turned to lead the way. Till did his best not to let her distract him from his mission. He really tried not to notice her body slithering back and forth across the floor in a serpentine rhythm, or the tan, black, and red sequence pattern of her scales leading from the tip of her tail up until disappearing under her white medical coat, only to emerge from her collar and up her neck. Lastly, Till tried not to notice her well-groomed, short, red hair peeking out from underneath her nurse's cap. As they approached her office, they could hear the group of bullies conspiring amongst themselves. This snapped Till back into focus. I can't wait until I'm healed. The first thing I'm going to do is get my revenge. My honor is lost until I do, the now conscious Hanzo proclaimed. Don't worry about that, ape. We will be at the academy soon, and we will become even stronger. We will go on to defeat the shadow hordes, and then we'll be heroes, Ren challenged. Tang and Oos laughed as best they could despite their injuries, completely unaware what was coming their way. That's when the door slammed open, crashing into the wall with such force that it swung back into the liaison, ruining the attempt at a serious entrance. Bouncing off Till's feet, the door began to reopen with a horrifyingly slow creak. The silhouette of red and black spiked fins protruding like a crown from his head was even scarier. Till snarled and hissed as his arms elongated and his hands enlarged. Hunching forward and entering the room on all fours, the group of boys became increasingly terrified as the liaison towered over them. Out of instinct, Tang, Ren, and Usk huddled in a corner, leaving Hanzo, who was still immobile, to fend for himself. What gives you the right to treat someone in such a way? What if I were to tie you down and beat you unconscious? Till roared. The bullies were scared out of their wits. The boom of Till's voice was so loud that anyone within range was frightened, other than Nurse Kisa, who seemed to be enjoying herself. Soon, Arrow came running in and stopped in the doorway at the sight of Till's primal form. All of you, without protest, will put the town back together. You will do what you are told when you are told. Am I clear? Till ordered. The three bullies who could stand did so, bowing to the liaison simultaneously. Till did not say another word. He just turned around, scooping up Arrow as he stomped out of the room. As the door shut behind him, Arrow was frozen with fear. What did I do? What did I do? Arrow questioned, holding back tears. Till's entire expression changed. His spikes retracted, his arms returned to normal size, and his complexion returned to his normal light tan as the rage dissipated from his complexion. I don't know what you are, and I'm sorry for what those boys did to you. You are clearly something special, Arrow, and I mean that. One day, you're going to mean a lot for us in the battle against the Shadow. But for right now, I need you to lay as low as possible. Do you hear me? You can't be getting yourself into any more situations like this. Please. My door's always open. Don't hesitate to come to me, Till said, gently patting Arrow's shoulder. What happened today can never happen again, do you understand? Arrow just stared back into his bulbous black and pink eyes, unbelievably confused. All he could muster was a simple, yes, sir. Till and Arrow remained in silence. Looking upon Arrow with further concern, Till noticed that he had healed even more in the brief time he was gone. I can only imagine what it must feel like to grow up here, but it's a big realm out there. It's hard to see from the surface of this tiny forgotten rock, but there are countless reasons to push past this. With the state of things, I'm sure the GA would love to have a cadet of your talents. Trust me, you want to enjoy your time here as much as possible before you step into a theater of war, Till sighed. How bad was it? I mean, what I did, what you saw on the video, Arrow shyly asked. Till horizontally blinked at the question, but before he could respond, Headmaster Grant finally caught up. Have you told him? Have you told the little devil what his punishment is to be? Grant said with a gleeful cheer. I have decided that Arrow will serve his punishment at the station with me. Those four can handle cleaning up the town, Till stated. Grant was clearly upset, waving his hand in disapproval. I don't want to hear another word about this, Grant. Get over it. The matter's closed. Liaison Till putting his foot down caused Kisa to smile as she emerged from her office. Slithering right up to Till, she stared gently into his eyes with an innocent smile. Her intentions froze the liaison in place. Reaching up, still holding eye contact and the innocent smile, Kisa removed a piece of dry shedding skin from Till's neck. She chuckled as Till blushed so hard his light tan complexion turned bright red before he shed the rest of his skin. Kisa continued to giggle as she helped remove the more difficult bits tucked around the edge of his uniform. The silent moment between the two was ruined when Till noticed Arrow and Grant exchanging amused looks at the awkward but lovely moment playing out before them. This caused Till to turn an even brighter shade of red. Taking a step back from the group, he was unsure of what to do next and made a completely unexpected and unnecessary bow. Staying bowed for 1 second too long, Liaison Till finally stood erect and poised, pretending to be above the embarrassing interaction. Spinning on his heel, he ignored the panting, sweating headmaster and made his way to the large doors that stood guard at the center's entrance. Turning back for one final look, Till found the eyes of Kisa, then Arrow, and knew this moment would not be forgotten.